Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes is a horror sci-fi novel. I didn't know much about this, but I heard about it from Holly Hart's books, so I decided to check it out. An audiobook from my library. It gives me no great pleasure to give this book a really low rating. I wanted to like it. I like the trope of like a potentially haunted spaceship and people trying to find it. But this book is way too derivative of the Alien franchise, especially the first two films. From the evil corporation to the salvaging to the arguing. First off, I have to mention that it starts off at present day. Claire Kavalik is a captain or team leader of a ship of 5. They basically go around fixing command nodule communication nodes throughout the galaxy, I guess. And the 5 of them find a special find, the Aurora, which was like this luxury cruise space liner that disappeared, and if they can basically prove that they found it, they can claim at least 10% or all of it under salvage rules. So something bad happened. She's the only survivor. Now she's being interviewed by Varix Corporation, which is like the company she works for. And then we skip to then, another timeline, which follows the 5 space crew. Now, first off, the book just doesn't have any downtime. The first thing we get is people arguing about the ship. And it always feels like the book is trying too hard to have conflict. There's always people yelling at each other, going like, there's this guy named Voller, and he's immediately vocal about it. He doesn't like the captain. He doesn't think she's worthy of it, and he's all over her about wanting the money and everything. And basically, they're always shouting at each other. It doesn't feel like there's any downtime. If you're watching the movie Alien, and instead of 10-minute opening sequence of silence, it started with them waking up and screaming at each other, it wouldn't be the same. So this book tries too hard in terms of conflict. And I don't know if this is a problem with the audiobook, but the lady who read the audiobook is too good at acting. I mean in the sense that she's always on. Like it could be like a sentence like Claire woke up and had breakfast, but she'd say it like, Claire woke up and had breakfast. She's way too into it, and that's fine, but it also like sort of brings this sort of sense of anxiety to the entire book. So instead of listening to an audiobook, it's almost like listening to someone having a panic attack for 12 hours. And it was really like, it wasn't scary too. The book isn't scary. The crew finds this haunted spaceship, and they go on, and they start discovering like gore and bodies, and like something bad happened, and they just describe bodies a lot, and there's no real horror, there's no build up, there's no things going on. And then they jump back about maybe like 25% of the last book is then now in the present day, and they're going back to the ship like in Aliens. And then the reveal is pretty weak, and the book isn't scary. It doesn't have a lot of sci-fi elements either. There's only character development for the main character. She has this sort of traumatic past because she was also a lone survivor on a ship. But everyone else is just like one-dimensional. You got the nerd, you got the bleeding heart lady, you got the greedy guy that's the obnoxious jerk, and then you got the love interest, and then that's it. It's just too derivative of Event Horizon or Alien. It feels like a carbon copy, like plot-wise, character-wise. It's not scary, which is like the number one thing you need for a horror sci-fi. And the story itself winds down to an inevitable conclusion that's not exciting or thrilling. And I'm not sure if it's equal parts 50-50, like the author wrote it that way, like everything up to 11, or the audiobook performer doing it all the way to 11. But the book, it feels like it tries way too hard. So much conflict, yelling at each other, no downtime. There's not a crescendo of like horror and then calm horror. It's more like, people are screaming at each other all the time. People are getting each other's faces, So I give Dead Space a 1 out of 5.